All right, let's dive into another deep dive, shall we? Today we're cracking open the Brahma Purana again, specifically chapter 17. And this chapter, well, it kind of takes us on this journey to a region called Ondra, and it's just steeped in like ancient Indian mythology and spirituality. It's really fascinating.
It really is, yeah. This chapter is really interesting because it blends geography, mythology, ritual practice, to kind of paint this picture of belief and devotion in ancient India.
It's like they're all woven together, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So let's set the scene, right? Like take us there. What's Ondra like?
The Brahma Purana, it describes Ondra as this lush, incredibly lush region. It's on the southern coast of Bharatavarsha. And for those who maybe aren't familiar with that term, that's ancient India. So think like sun-soaked beaches, fragrant trees, paradise. Right.
Yeah, a total paradise. But it wasn't just beautiful, right? Ondra was considered this land of purity. It was a land of spiritual power. It stretched from the shores of the sea all the way to the Viraja Mandala.
The Viraja Mandala, it's this celestial realm described in Hindu cosmology. It's pretty wild.
Okay, so we're talking about a place that's not just like geographically special, but like spiritually significant too.
Exactly. And it gets even better. The text, it suggests that Ondra was believed to grant both worldly prosperity, what's called Wuga, A-N-D, liberation, what's called moksha. That's, the ultimate goal in a lot of Indian spiritual traditions.
So it's like the best of both worlds.
Exactly, a spiritual jackpot, right? You could have it all in Ondra.
I like the sound of that.
Yeah.
But who are these people living in this incredible place?
So the Brahma Purana tells us that Ondra was inhabited by Brahmanas. They were known for their knowledge and spiritual practice, dedicated to tapasya, which means austerities, and svadhyaya, which is self-study.
Wow. It's really making me think about how that focus on knowledge and spiritual discipline, like how it really shaped their lives, shaped their values.
Oh, absolutely. And the text, it actually describes these Brahmanas as self-controlled, truthful, charitable. It even says they were free from both attachment and aversion. Talk about inner peace.
Sounds like they had it figured out.
Right. And, they were also super devoted to Vedic fire rituals, especially the worship of Samarth Agni. It's a form of the fire god associated with purification and transformation.
Okay, so we've got this like idyllic setting, these wise and disciplined inhabitants. Sounds like the perfect place to encounter the divine, right?
Yeah.
And that's where Kunaditya comes in?
Precisely. Kunaditya is the sun god, Surya, but worshipped in this region under this specific name. And here's where it gets really interesting. Just by having the darshan, the auspicious site of Kunaditya, it was believed to liberate you from all ill sins.
Oh, that's powerful. Just by seeing him.
That's the belief.
So where exactly in Ondra was Kunaditya's presence felt?
Well, the Brahma Purana, it describes this sun-drenched area on the northern shore of the Lavan Samudra, or the Salt Sea. Picture a huge expanse of sand, stretching over a yojana that's an ancient unit of distance. And it's teeming with trees, like the fragrant champaka and the vibrant ashoka.
Okay, so we're adding like vibrant natural beauty to this already potent mix of spiritual energy. But wait, there's more, right? Kunaditya doesn't just absolve you of sins. He offers something else pretty amazing.
You're right. This is where that duality we were talking about earlier comes back. Kunaditya was believed to grant both bhoga, or worldly enjoyment, and moksha, or liberation, from the cycle of birth and death, that is.
So he's not just this deity of strict asceticism. He represents a path where worldly fulfillment and spiritual liberation can coexist. That's pretty fascinating, right? It challenges the idea that you have to choose one or the other.
It certainly does. It speaks to a much more nuanced understanding of the relationship between, the material and the spiritual in Hindu thought. But the question is, how did people connect with Kunaditya? How did they tap into this incredible power?
Well, the Brahma Purana, it actually outlines a very specific ritual for worshiping him.
Yeah.
And it's more involved than just like offering a quick prayer. Are we ready to unpack the details?
Absolutely. Let's do it. So the Brahma Purana lays it all out, like a step-by-step guide for worshiping Kunaditya. It's not like you just show up and offer a prayer. It's this deliberate process. You have to prepare yourself and then take action.
It's almost like a recipe, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. And just like with a recipe, the details really matter. The Brahma Purana says that the ritual, it takes place on the Saptami Tithi.
Saptami what now?
Saptami Tithi. That's the 7th lunar day of the Shukla Paksha, the waxing phase of the moon. And it all happens in the month of Magha, which is, around January or February for us.
Okay, so even the timing is significant. It's not just any random day. There's like an auspicious time for these spiritual practices.
Right, exactly. But what about the ritual itself? Well, it all starts with preparation. You're supposed to fast beforehand, purify yourself, and then bathe in the sea. This cleansing, it symbolizes shedding impurities and preparing yourself for a sacred encounter.
It's fascinating how it combines like these outer actions with inner intention. It's not just going through the motions, but it's about cultivating a certain mindset.
Exactly. And after bathing, the ritual involves offering specific items to Konadicha, and then you have to create an 8-petaled lotus design. And the lotus, it's a really powerful symbol in Hinduism.
Oh yeah, the lotus. I know a bit about that. It's about purity, enlightenment, the unfolding of spiritual consciousness, all that.
Got it. And each part of the lotus design in this ritual has meaning. The Brahma Purana says to create it in a copper vessel using red sandalwood paste, saffron, sesame seeds, rice, red flowers, and kusha grass. Each element, it carries symbolic significance.
It's like a whole visual language, right?
Mm.
Each color, each material, it's adding another layer of meaning to the ritual.
Precisely. But it doesn't stop there. The text really stresses the importance of mental focus during this ritual. You're supposed to chant specific mantras and use mudras, those are hand gestures. It's all to enhance your connection with the divine.
Wow. So it's engaging, like the mind, body, A&D spirit.
Right.
A totally holistic practice.
Absolutely. It's not just about the outer actions. It's about aligning your inner world with the divine through focus, through intention, through devotion.
Okay, so we've got this like beautiful and intricate ritual, but what were the benefits, of actually performing it?
Well, the Brahma Purana says the ritual can do a lot. Fulfill desires, bring healing, grant wealth and knowledge, and ultimately, it can lead to moksha liberation from the cycle of rebirth.
Wow, that's quite a range. It really shows you the power they attributed to Konatacha and how important this ritual was to them. But you know what strikes me? This ritual, yeah, it's specific in its details, but it reflects these broader themes we find in Hindu spirituality.
I totally agree. Take the emphasis on self-discipline, for example.
Yeah.
Fasting, purification, meticulous preparation, it all points to the importance of cultivating inner control, inner focus as part of the spiritual journey.
And then there's the symbolism we were talking about, right? The lotus, the colors, the offerings, they're all carefully chosen to represent these specific energies and concepts, creating this like multi-sensory experience. And it's all designed to elevate consciousness, to connect with the divine.
Yeah, it's almost like this carefully choreographed dance, right? Between the physical and the metaphysical.
I like that, the cosmic dance.
And this dance, it isn't limited to just worshiping Konadicha.
Right, because the Brahma Purana, it specifically says to worship Surya, the sun god, before approaching other deities like Vishnu, Shiva, or Indra.
Exactly. It's like he holds the special place in the hierarchy. He's a gateway to connecting with the divine.
Oh, interesting.
And speaking of connections, remember how we talked about Konaditya granting both worldly enjoyment and liberation? Well, that idea, these seemingly opposite forces coexisting, it's also reflected in another part of this chapter, the presence of Rameshvara.
Rameshvara, who's that again?
Rameshvara is a form of Shiva, and he's located right there on the seashore near Konaditya's temple. And just like Konadicha, he's associated with granting desires and bestowing blessings.
Okay, so we have these two powerful deities side by side in this spiritually charged region. It makes you think there must be some connection between their worship, right?
The Brahma Purana definitely seems to suggest that. The text highlights how close their shrines are. Like, it's suggesting a relationship between the worship of Surya and Shiva in this specific location. Perhaps it's not about seeing them as, separate or even competing forces, but rather recognizing their complementary roles in the cosmic order.
It reminds me of that concept of interconnectedness we find in a lot of Hindu thought, right?
Yeah.
That idea that everything is woven together in this tapestry of divine energy.
Exactly. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. We'll dive deeper into that idea a little later. For now, why don't we take a closer look at the rituals associated with Rameshvara and see what we can learn from them.
So we've got Konaditya, representing like the sun, and Rameshvara, a form of Shiva, both hanging out in this sacred region of Ondra. It's like this incredible fusion of energies, right?
It really is. And this fusion, it speaks to this key aspect of Hindu mythology, this interconnectedness of the divine. It's not about just worshiping one deity and ignoring the others. It's about understanding how they all kind of play a role in this grand cosmic dance.
Okay, I'm with you. But tell me a little bit more about like the specifics. How did people actually worship Rameshvara in Ondra? Was it similar at all to the Konadicha ritual?
There are some similarities, yeah. The Brahma Purana describes a ritual that involves bathing in the sea first. offering various items to Rameshvara, and then, performing pradakshina.
Pradakshina. That sounds kind of familiar.
Might have seen it before. It's when you circumambulate a sacred shrine or image, usually clockwise. It's a way of showing reverence, acknowledging the sacred presence.
Oh, right. I've seen that in temples. So you walk around Rameshvara's shrine, and then what?
Then the ritual ends with offering salutations and hymns to Rameshvara, expressing devotion, seeking his blessings.
So, like with the Kanaditya ritual, it combines these outer actions with inner intention, right? It's not just about going through the motions. It's about engaging your heart, your mind in the process.
Exactly. And this emphasis on both the outer and the inner, it's a recurring theme in the Brahma Purana, actually. It's suggesting that true spiritual practice involves aligning your thoughts, your actions, your emotions, all with the divine.
It makes me think about how we approach spirituality today. Sometimes it feels very individualized, right? Like very focused on our own personal journeys. But the Brahma Purana, it's pointing towards something more integrated, something that acknowledges our connection to something bigger, right?
That's a great observation. And this idea of interconnectedness, it's further emphasized in the Brahma Purana in its discussion of Dharma.
Dharma. I've heard that word before, but to be honest, I always struggle with its full meaning.
It's definitely a complex concept, but essentially, Dharma refers to this righteous conduct, duty, and cosmic law. It's about living in alignment with the natural order of the universe, fulfilling your purpose and acting in a way that contributes to the well-being of everyone.
Okay. So it's not just about personal gain or even personal enlightenment. It's about playing your role in this grand scheme of things, contributing to this harmony, this balance of the cosmos.
Exactly. And by performing rituals, by making pilgrimages, by living according to Dharma, individuals they were believed to be participating in that cosmic dance we talked about, aligning themselves with the divine will and contributing to the well-being of all creation.
That's beautiful. It makes these rituals and practices we've been talking about, it makes it feel like these rigid rules and more like a way of connecting to something so much grander than ourselves.
It's about recognizing that we're not these isolated individuals, but part of this interconnected web of life. Our actions, they have consequences. And the Brahma Purana, it reminds us to act with intention, with awareness, guided by those principles of Dharma.
This deep dive, it has been incredible. We've explored this fascinating region of Ondra, delved into the rituals, the beliefs surrounding Kanaditya and Rameshvara, and we even touched on these really profound concepts like Dharma and the interconnectedness of all things. What a journey.
It really has been. And as we wrap up, I hope our listeners feel inspired to explore the Brahma Purana a little more on their own. It's a text so rich with wisdom and insights, and it can offer a lot of guidance, a lot of inspiration for our modern lives.
Absolutely. And remember, you don't need to be a scholar or a theologian to connect with these ancient teachings. Just approach them with an open mind, a curious heart, and just see what speaks to you.
Who knows? You might just uncover some hidden gem that sparks a new understanding.
Yeah.
Or deepens your connection to the world around you.
And on that note, we'll leave you with this final thought from the Brahma Purana. Just as a single lamp can illuminate a dark room, so too can a single act of kindness dispel the darkness of ignorance and illuminate the path to enlightenment.
May this ancient wisdom guide your steps and inspire you to create a brighter world, both for yourself and for all beings.
Until next time, keep diving deep.